Blockbuster and Puntland on W4CY Radio.
This is the Pipe Man here on the Adventures of Pipe Man W4CY Radio. I'm very excited about our next guest because, I saw the press release from the publicist and asking me to do an interview, and all I had to do was see one thing, and I was like, before even reading the rest, and say, okay, I'll do it, and that was because it said family affair. And so here we have Kathy Garver, who is a great author, but I remember her from Family Affair.
I know. And do you realize it is the 60th anniversary of Family Affair this year?
Yeah, I don't really want to know that because
that
just tells me how old I am.
It's very odd. Well, I'm only 50 myself. I don't know why. I mean, that's the way. Well, I feel like I'm about 28, but chronologically, I'm 50. That's what I said now. I used to say I was 39, and I said, no. I don't think
get away with it anymore.
But I can get away with 50, I think.
I'm still kind of like 25, and I can tell you that. So with 4 kids and 8 grandkids, my oldest is 41, my youngest is 30. None of them can keep up with me. Like I always say to them, what's wrong with you people? I'm the one that's the Zadie, the grandfather, and you guys are acting like you're 80.
Well, it's the same. I mean, I have a 35-year-old son, and they're constantly, oh, I'm exhausted. Oh, I'm so tired. Oh, now my throat is sore. I said, come on. And I'm very healthy, and I'm take my walks, and it's the generation. I really think they're stressed. I think these poor kids are just really super stressed.
Too easily. I always say that if my kids ever had to live through the childhood I lived through, they wouldn't be here today. Like they couldn't handle it.
No.
And that doesn't make me special. It's just they don't have the coping skills nowadays.
It's changed. It's just, and it changes though all the time. Every generation changes every 10 years. Technology, I mean, it goes by so fast. Although I must say ChatGPT is one of my best friends. And I really like her a lot. I had to make a presentation during this Oscar season to Eric Roberts. And I said, ChatGPT, make me this speech about giving this award to Eric Roberts. Oh, she came up with a really, really good speech, and I corrected a couple little things. So she's very helpful. I like her a lot. And what should I have for dinner tonight? Because it's hot outside and I want something cool. They do answer everything.
Well, it's funny because you have this book about romance, okay? And I always joke when I'm on the phone with family member or friend, I'm like, check this out. And I start talking to Alexa, so they can hear it. It's like the funniest thing because Alexa, oh my God, she has me figured out in 2 seconds. No woman has, my ex-wives will say, I still don't know you. Nobody's ever been able to figure me out. Alexa in 2 seconds, and she'll be like, oh, Pipe Man, you like me because I'm a little bit of sweet, but then a little bit of sass too.
Yes, well, my Alexa just answered you. She heard us say Alexa, and she says, I don't know how I can help you with that. Right, Alexa? She can't help you. Maybe sure how to help you with that.
Yeah, see that? It's funny, too, because there's times I've done interviews from home instead of the studio, and I try never to do that because she interrupts my interviews.
Right. They're very lovable, though. I don't know what I'd do without them.
I know, right?
They're very good friends of mine now.
Well,
I don't know about their romance. I don't know what they have, but my Romancing with the Stars was really a fun book to write. What it is the long-term relationships of Hollywood celebrities. I have a very good friend who is a professor and at computers, etc., and retired, but he's just so enamored of celebrities and people in the business. And he's a very much romantic. He's been married maybe 48 years. So he says, Kathy, let's do this book together. And I said, okay, I've written 5 books. So and this was his first. So I had all that experience. And I thought, Dean, this was going to be a very short book because, relationships in Hollywood, turns out it's like 450 pages.
Wow.
Because we have 27 wonderful couples, from Tony Dow and his wife Lauren to Frankie Avalon, who's been married for 60 years, and Pat Boone, 65 years. I mean, and they're still, Frankie Avalon, I hate to say this is, Frankie Avalon's still really hot. He is really very handsome. And he lives close to me in Westlake. I ran into him at a restaurant.
Oh my God, you live in Westlake?
I live in Bell Canyon, which is like, 20 minutes from Westlake.
I went to Westlake High and Agora High and TO High.
Oh, you know where Bell Canyon is then?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes,
Totally.
with the equestrians and all, where all the horses are.
Yep.
Equestrian Center, former. I love Westlake. It's just so beautiful. For Mother's Day, my son and my daughter-in-law got me a spa day at the Westlake Vintage Inn right there, the Relais. That was very nice.
Nice. That's cool because, it's funny. I still freak out and I go out there all the time, that you can drive through Oak Park from Agora to Westlake. That blows my mind, because that always ended when I lived there. And then, like, I remember I used to go out and watch the Dukes of Hazzard cars go by to go to Lake Sherwood all the time. I used to make it a point to be there when they're driving by.
Yeah, it's great. It's a fabulous area. It really is fun. And it's next to Calabasas. All the Kardashians made that very popular.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we thought this would be a really a good book, and it touches on why these couples stayed together. And I think it's kind of inspiring for anybody to read it, because we all have, I was married for 44 years until my husband passed. And, there's the up days and the down days. And I think it takes someone to recognize, what your mood is, and then to do something perhaps about it, to bring a rose or to read a book together or to cuddle up. And I think it's the recognition of that and the trusting of that. And also there's kind of a spiritual bind between the couples that allowed them to look at something even higher, that say, oh, okay, I don't know if this was blessed in heaven or not. Today, I don't think so. But, it's strong.
Wow.
From all the couples that we did. That's kind of what came out in the book, Romancing with the Stars. And it is I think, inspiring love stories. I think what's cool about it is, and my co-author has just traveled all over the world. He said, let's put in a travel guide and we'll recreate the couple's most romantic places and their most romantic moments. So, for instance, Morgan Brittany and her husband, Jack Gill. Morgan Brittany was on Dallas, and Jack Gill's just award-winning stunt guy. But their most romantic moment was when they were in Africa, and they were in a tent on it, and they were on a safari, and they looked up at the sky and saw these sparkling lights, and that was their most romantic moments.
Nice.
So afterwards, then we say, here are different safaris that you can take in Kenya or South Africa or this, and the prices and what it is. And if that's a little pricey, then we say, well, then you go to the zoo, and we show the beautiful zoos like San Diego Zoo or Griffith Park Zoo, and see the animals have a romantic moment with a little wine and cheese and whatever. If that's too expensive, you cuddle up on the couch with some wine and cheese and watch Katharine Hepburn and in The African Queen with Humphrey Bogart, which is very romantic. Yeah. So that's our book, and it's people identify with it a lot.
So my statement and question is, from your experience in it, is like, okay, we all see the stories of the bad marriages, But then I just think to myself, same as this industry I'm in, like it's almost better to be with somebody that has some connection to the industry because then they could understand certain things that people outside the industry may not, that maybe makes it better and a better cohesive thing, and do you find that to be true, or does that cause even more stress because both people are stressed out with the whole everything that goes on in the industry?
What I found in this particular book, no, it is not good to be in the same one, and maybe it is good to be in the same one. But I think what you said at the end there's a lot more stress because both of them are stressed. Almost everyone in the book had someone who was out of the industry. Like for Ruta Lee,
Wow.
her husband was a very successful restaurateur, and Tony Dow, his long-term wife, was a mother and a painter, an artist, but never in front of the camera. Frankie Avalon's wife, at the beginning, they may have met, but she didn't continue after. Well, with 6 children, she's not going to have a lot of time, to be in front of the camera. So I found in these particular couples, and I think it's a great sampling and my husband was not. My husband was a businessman. And I kind of put that out there. I said, well, first of all, I was like 33 and I wasn't married and I was getting not desperate, but I hadn't found the right person. So I said, the next person I meet, I'm going to marry. And I was in Palm Springs and at a music industry tennis tournament. And my friend was there, and she was with her partner, and we needed a fourth for tennis. So we set up a tennis game, and I said, okay, we're waiting for the fourth. The next person, this is the person I'm going to marry. So the 6'3" guy comes onto the tennis court, and we start playing tennis, and I'm going back and forth, and he says, oh, finally a woman that can play tennis. I'm going to get married. And I go, tee-hee. So 3 years later, we got married, and we're married for 44 years.
Wow.
But I had already put in my mind, I really didn't want somebody as an actor because we're very high on the angst list. Mm-hmm. One of the worst things in the angst list is to lose your job. Well, that's what an actor does all the time. They do a movie. Yeah. Oh, okay. Now what do I do? Or if they do a stage play, whoops, that's over. And so you're constantly being a little depressed because you don't have a job. So someone that has a steady job or someone that is steady really kind of anchors the balloons they're going around them as a person.
Wow. And while you're talking, I'm thinking about it makes so much sense too. Like you kind of want to have an escape from the industry, right? Like that's, I think, the benefit of being with somebody not in the industry. That's your escape.
It is. And I felt with David, he was really one of the only person I could really be myself with. I could scream, I could yell, I can wear sweats. I don't have to have makeup on. I don't have to be my presentational self. I can just, be barefoot.
I get that feeling totally because like being on the radio, you're playing a role too. Pipe man is a role. And like I'll meet women and they want Pipe Man. They don't want Dean, which is my real name. They don't want that person who is the real me. Like, and I'll tell you how funny it is. I'll tell you a pretty funny story. So my daughter worked at the station for several years, and her mom, when we got divorced, said, I really hope you find what you're looking for because you're like the most romantic person I've ever met. I'm just not into that, which is weird to hear. But okay. So fast forward 10 years, she calls up my daughter at the station. She goes, I was just listening to your dad on the radio, and he was never that obnoxious in 12 years of marriage. He's such a player now. and then she tried to reconcile with me because she thought I was a player. And I'm like, oh my God.
That is so funny and so true, because when you first meet someone and maybe they're on their best behavior and you don't really know who you are. It reminds me of being at a party one time. This guy was all dressed up as like a hippie and really cool. And I'm a little conservative. And I said, oh, well, this is something different. Oh, and he's really a nice person. And turns out he was just dressed up that way that day. But we actually, after, you tear off and peel back the onion, and then you see what's there. He was a nice guy, but I didn't marry him.
Well, and you know how it is from being an actor. Like, people think you're the character you're playing. It annoys me. Like, it's wild to me. Like, sometimes it's funny, but other times not so much. Like, I met somebody recently. She's like, can you do your radio? She goes, oh, I thought you'd have more of a radio voice. I'm like, what's a radio voice? All those people, that's their voice. Come on, do your radio voice for me. I'm like, this is my voice. No, come on. And it was like, she kept going on. I was like, okay, I'm over this now. Or there's other people, like I'll meet women because I go on tour and I do radio coverage at music festivals all over the US, UK, and Europe. And I'm pipe man at these music festivals. And I'll meet women and then I'll show them Dean. And they don't want that person. They want the character that they met.
It's very interesting. I find, though, as an actor, and people say, oh, and Cissy on Family Affairs, she was such a character. And I says, well, actually, the way that I act, it's like 80% is me. Because you have the same heart, you have the same vision of something that you are seeing. Your body will react because it's your body to a situation that's scary in a certain way. And it doesn't matter what kind of a character you're playing, you are who you are. And physically and spiritually and mentally, you can't change that part of yourself. You can change your voice. I can do like 100 different kind of characters and really nice ones or not so nice ones or really strong ones, but they're all coming from me. And so you're basically the same thing.
That's true. It is a part of you too, even if you exaggerate. I use that word. It's exaggeration of your personality.
Yes, I think that's a good way to express it.
Right?
That's very good. Pipe man Dean.
So, are there any love stories that you discovered while you're researching that really surprised you?
Well, I was surprised kind of like with Ruta Lee. Now, Ruta Lee is just a wonderful actress. She's the president of the Thalians, which I'm on the board of, that was started by Debbie Reynolds and Ruta to help actors. And it's a charity foundation that helps people with mental conditions. I don't know that actors and mental conditions are, one and the same, but to help actors and also anyone that has mental needs. And she was on a plane going back from Florida to Texas. And she was tired. She had just done a Thalian thing. And so she saw these Gucci loafers walking towards her. He says, oh, those are nice. Oh, that's a nice looking man. So he just continued to walk along. And when they got on the plane, he said, oh, is this seat taken? It was the same Gucci loafer man. And she said, well, no. And he says, well, I'm Webb Lowe. And he says, oh, well, I'm Ruta Lee. If we got married, then we could have be Ruta Lee Lowe, and we could have a Chinese laundry. So they talked for 2 hours, and 2 years later, they got married on Valentine's Day, which was the day they met on the plane. So that was a sweet story.
I love that. And, as you mentioned earlier, Family Affairs celebrating its 60th anniversary. I don't even like saying that because, wow, who would ever think you'd be thinking of something 60 years ago? But, what does that milestone mean to you? And what would you say is your favorite story or memory from that show?
Well, I look at it is a milestone, and I look back at a legacy. Now, I just received an award, an Oscar kind of viewing party award for the Golden Era Award, and I got a Life Achievement Award, and I'm getting another Legacy Award, the Margaret O'Brien Legacy Award, and I was up for a Grammy this year, and that isn't because
Wow.
of age, but it makes a good title. This year old, up for her first Grammy. Um, but I look back at makes you look back at your career in some ways. All these pinpoints: the 70th anniversary of Ten Commandments, and 60th anniversary of Family Affair, 45th anniversary of Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, where I played in the character of Firestar. And I said, this is good because I'm very proud of almost every single thing that I've done. I've not ever done violent things, and I haven't done X-rated things. And why? And because I think that's just a part of my personality, and I have a very strong faith in believing in some spirit that's guiding me. And
Yeah.
that spirit has not guided me wrong. He's guided me into things that I've really had to deal with and wasn't real sure about. But the next couple months, okay, here's a Grammy that you had no idea you would ever think, because I sing off key. And different things happen. Your house can burn down. My house is burned down, but around the corner is something better.
Absolutely. And so, I think to myself of, I don't know, I miss those days of television, probably because I had a really bad childhood, and shows like Family Affair, Make Room for Daddy, Leave It to Beaver, and all those shows, they were my role model of what I wanted when I became an adult. And I created that as an adult, and it was something I didn't have. And I look at TV today and the shows today, and man, I think I would be pretty messed up if TV was the way it is today, the way back then, because back then it was teaching me values and family values and all of that.
Well, yes, and that's, goes back to our previous discussion. That's one of the reasons the kids are so stressed today. And my own son, when they play those video games and people are shooting everybody, and it's not reality,
Yeah.
and they think it is. And they get more realistic and oh, well, you shoot somebody, but then they just get up and play again. Well, if you do that in real life, they don't get up and
Right.
play again. Yeah. So it definitely, the definitely has a large impression, television and any kind of media on watching it. That's why it's, giving you something that you have to treasure, and not, I want to inspire people. I don't want to harm them in any
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
I want
That's
to
right.
make sure that I'm helping them out, not putting them down.
So, are you hoping that Romancing with the Stars inspires others?
To respect their mate, and if they have something that is, not getting a divorce right away, if they have some kind of breakup, but talking about it, respecting each other, and bringing each other a rose every now and again.
Yep. That sometimes that's all it takes, right? Or
Yes.
listening, or just
Listening.
listening, paying attention.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
I think a lot of us, we get into relationships and we kind of forget a lot of those things, and that kind of what makes things go a little sour. Because I'm a firm believer, like, you should be just as much in the honeymoon phase from day one as you are day 60 years later. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
You know?
that's right. And cherish every day. Every day is new, and you find out something new about your partner every day too.
Absolutely. So, how can people check out all your books, but specifically this new one?
They can go to kathygarver.com, which is my website, and they can order any of my books. They're Romancing with the Stars, and you get an autographed copy of it that way. You can get it on Amazon, but you don't get an autographed copy that way. So it's kathygarver.com, kathygarver.com, Romancing with the Stars. And I'm on Facebook and Instagram, but that's the way to get the book, is to go to my website.
Nice. And do you have any other words of wisdom or anything you want to share with the listeners?
Believe in yourself and follow your heart.
those are like the best words ever. I don't even think we can top that at this point. So, I want to thank you for everything you've done for all these years, like going all the way back and still doing it. See, you inspire me because you're still doing it now, because, it's great to see creativity to continue to flourish.
And it makes people feel good. I think if anyone, let's plant a flower and watch it grow. That's a little bit of creativity there. I think creativity helps keep you young, and a 35-year-old and the puppies that they bring to the house.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Well, you have the spirit of a 35-year-old, and I think everybody needs to read your books, especially the new one, or they can't listen to my show if they don't. But
everyone should listen to the Pipe Man.
Well, thank you. And thank you for being on the Adventures of Pipe Man.
I really enjoyed it. Thank you. Hi, I'm Kathy Garver, Cissy from Family Affair, and Spider-Man and his amazing friends. And you're listening to The Pipe Man on W4CY Radio.
Thank you for listening to the Adventures of Pipe Man on W4CY Radio.